Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here on a Thursday, 3 games in the association. We're going to be taking a look at some best bets, sides, and totals. Also have player prop looks in this episode as well for you. So make sure to subscribe to that channel. Continue to follow along and grab this episode each and every weekday moving forward. Let's get right into things, Nate, kicking off with the Cavs and the Raptors. We always got to shout out that old Raptors logo, hashtag bring it back. But get into why you like the Raptors to be able to score in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cavs to just keep the pace up, to be scoring themselves, and I think I lean Raptors to cover the number here, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs go to 130 plus again after hitting that last night with the B team in, right? I mean, now, second night of a back-to-back, we know Donnie and Evan Mobley will be back, but Garland's still banged up, so we don't know about that, but Jared Allen, who's historically been very, very bad on back-to-backs, wouldn't be surprised if he sits. The Cavs have allowed 5 more points per game on back-to-backs versus on 3+ days rest since last season. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Allen is 12 points worse on his individual defensive rating on a back-to-back. So there you go. Either he's out or he's not playing as good of defense. And Toronto's been getting in there, getting in the paint, that is, and scoring at a pretty high rate. Their last 8 they're down in pace, but they have a 120 offensive rating since they've kind of turned things around these last 6. That started with beating the Cavs, and yes, it was a lower scoring game because no Garland or Donnie, mostly importantly, no Donovan Mitchell, and the Raptors still got to 112. That game was only a 95 pace, though, and now Cleveland, since then, 104.5 pace. They are scoring a ton, obviously, but allowing the third most paint points, second most fast break points, also allowing the most free throw attempts and fourth most assists. Raptors scoring second highest percentage of their points on the break with all those athletes on the wing. Not a huge surprise right there. And we know they started the season playing insanely fast and playing these insanely high scoring games. So is it a product of who they've just played lately? They changed style a little bit. I think they'll be comfortable if Cleveland wants to get up and down here. And I think they'll be able to expose some of the guys who did play a lot last night and are going to have tired legs.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think the total is the way that I would go on this one. Not quite as sure. Donnie and Mobley were ruled in like in the last 35 minutes or something like that. So I need to recalibrate that. But I do know the Raptors score regardless of who's playing for the Cavs. Moving over to the Pacers and the Suns in Phoenix. And this actually moved a point towards the Pacers. Great. I'm happy to take the Suns against the Pacers. I don't particularly love the Suns, but I do think Dillon Brooks is a go tonight. And I don't think Mark Will is a go tonight. And I still don't really care. I think that one point probably had a little bit to do with Mark Williams not being a go because you don't really have a true center for Phoenix. Guess who else doesn't have a true center? It would be the Indiana Pacers, who are giving Jay Huff 17 minutes and Isaiah Jackson 23 minutes, and then Pascal at the small ball 5. And they're just struggling to find stuff. Tony Bradley's getting like a handful of minutes, not even 10, but he's getting out there because they're just like, I don't know, you're big, man. That's all we got. So I'm not really worried. Like the Suns are going to be able to play bigger than they are anyway. They're big at each position, not necessarily at center, but all of the other positions, all the 4 positions between Dunn, Iguodaro, Royce O'Neal playing bigger than he does. We'll throw Colin Gillespie in there, someone who gets some boards for a little man. He had like 5 last night. So I do think like the Suns and the way that they're playing defense is the key here. This is a team that will slow it down. Indiana, like they want to play fast when they have all their guns, but they don't have them, and they're still playing at the 9th pace because it's just kind of like they're reaching, right? Like, and you don't really know who's going to be out there. I think Quentin Jackson now out as well. So you're really looking at like Nembhard being it, and like good for Nembhard, but if he's the guy that got to rely on to take 23 shots in addition to hoping that he gets like 13, 14 potentials to get himself some nice assist numbers, like it's just a little bit too much to expect. And with Brooks playing, like I would put him on Nembhard, but at the same time, I could see him just going back and forth between Nembhard and Pascal. If you don't really trust any of your young wings on Pascal, that would make sense to me too. He'll also do work down low if you put a guy like Ryan Dunn on him. So he is a matchup problem. That's why he's so good in general. But Dillon Brooks is a guy that you can at least neutralize, frustrate, and keep him out at the perimeter and is strong enough to sort of bang, at least for a time, with Pascal. So like you have the ways to stop them. The Jalen Green going down thing was huge. It does suck a big time because his offense is not humming by any means. And like you need Dylan Brooks taking like 17 shots right now. You don't need it, but that's what he's going to do. He's got the green light because he's doing everything else right so well. So that's why this team's defensive rating is in the top half of the league, and that's why they are pretty efficient on offense, if not like good. It's not a pretty by any means, but at the very least between Booker and when he has Mark Will, it's better. Either way, it's just the Pacers are bad, man. They don't have anything going for them right now. So I just still like the Suns to be able to cover on a back-to-back.
Yeah, man. Jordan Ott is coaching his ass off, and he is 40-1 to win Coach of the Year at this point. I mean, if the Suns outperform expectations, if they like at least get to the play-in, I think he would be live for that. I'm not necessarily saying you should bet it. I'm just bringing up the odds here because, yeah, they're like top 10 in everything in these last 6 since they baffled Wemby, right? The Suns, they don't make many mistakes on the defensive end. They have an engine in Booker. I'd be interested in Grayson Allen here as far as like the scoring and assists. He's been extremely reliable as a playmaker. And Indy, yeah, they're still climbing back. TJ McConnell on a minutes restriction could put up some points on minutes, but then once he gets out of there, yeah, I don't know what else.
But that is a decent look, is like 10 plus for TJ McConnell with the Suns to cover, get the negative correlation. But our boy's going to eat when he's out there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, probably just take money line at that point and still get plus money, but. Hawks are almost down to the money line here. They're on a back-to-back, but they just waxed Sacramento. And that's, they're going to have an easy trip over to Utah, who is riding high, probably inflated because they beat the aforementioned Pacers. They dropped 152. The Jazz have been living at the free throw line in these last few games, and I just don't think that's going to happen here against Atlanta, which is very big and physical on the wing. They are 6th best limiting free throws in their last 4, despite facing both Luka and Harden in that span. So I don't see them getting a ton of points that way. I see them committing a lot of turnovers because they do have the 4th highest turnover rate. And you got Dyson and Nah out there on these guards. And Atlanta is going to be going the other way. And that's a big deal because, I mean, that's how they've been thriving without Trey, is stops into offense. I mean, they have elite defensive metrics basically across the board without him in their last 7. And tried to fade the Jazz at home against the Pacers because highlighted that they coming into that, they were 29th in offense, 28th in net since losing Walker Kessler. And they just are giving up a ton of above the break threes, getting torched on corner threes. They're just not a good basketball team at all from top to bottom, playing huge minutes for Yusuf Nurkic. And now he's going to have to guard 2 space and pace 5s, right? In Zinger and Okongwu.
Like, I don't think KP is going to play. I'll just throw that out there. I think
okay. Because back to back. Oh,
yeah.
Great. Yeah. So like wheels up on Okongwu. I mean, Atlanta's a damn good team. Like, look, their only losses this season, Toronto's apparently a bad matchup. Other than that, OKC at home, at Chicago when Chicago was red hot, and at Cleveland. So like, otherwise they've handled business. They're also 2-1 ATS on a rest disadvantage. So the second leg of the back-to-back doesn't scare me as much when the heart of your team is these young wings, basically.
I love this team, man. Once they took Trae Young out, there's nowhere to go on offense. This defense, it's like, I made the mistake of thinking in some way, shape, or form that like maybe Russ or somebody was going to do something last night for the Kings because there was going to be no Zach LaVine. Monk was out, I believe, as well. Nope, doesn't matter. That team's a train wreck. We won't go there. Doug Christie just like trashed his own team last night. He said, I'm 55. I could have done better than that last night. He's not wrong. I just also want to throw a whole bunch of flowers at the Hawks and like apologize to anybody that did tail any of the stuff I put down for the Kings, which is just some Russ stuff because it was his birthday and he's like 9 away from 10,000 assists. And so I just wanted to play some happy Russ Westbrook stuff. It did not materialize because this is the 5th best defensive team in the league right now. And that includes the handful of games that Trey played. And they're still in the top. They're a 5th overall in D rating. And they are everything you look at with their metrics on defense makes perfect sense. They will not give you mid-range. They will not give you threes. They don't give up spot up and they don't give up on-ball stuff because there's like 3 A1, like Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I would take that 3 against any 3 of the wing defenders that you put up on Oklahoma City right now. Any combo of 3, I think I'm still taking that 3 right there with Daniels and Nah. That's absolutely disgusting, right? And so that makes complete sense that like they're just playing helter-skelter ball. They'll give up offensive rebounds. If Walker Kessler was playing in this game, I would absolutely take Walker Kessler to get some tip-ins and some double-double stuff and like 14 rebounds because they'll give up more rebounds. And to your point, they've actually gotten better at limiting free throws. They were also really bad at that for a while. in part because they're just flying around. And if you do get inside the defense into the paint, you had a shot. It's still not the case. There've been a top 10 paint defense as well in the last 6, to the point that you made. Like, I found so much out. I learned so much last night about the Atlanta Hawks that watching them play defense made me go, wait a second, of course they're really good at defense. Look who's on their team. Just the roster of guys makes perfect sense. So sticking to this game for a minute, I got a guy I want to talk about in a player prop, and that's Ace Bailey. You're not going to get this number very much, and I think the blowout is reasonable to be worried about for Atlanta, just waxing Utah as well and just continuing to make statements. But Ace Bailey's still in the starting lineup now. They've been waiting for him to play more minutes. We talked about this recently on a different episode, and now he is in the starting lineup at 26 minutes or so. If a game, the last game they play, they lose by 24. So like, if the game stays relatively close, he should still always be at the mid 20s. He's seen as high as like 28, 29 already now as a part of the SL and doing everything. So like the rebounding on the starting lineup is Nurkic, and then Bailey is their second best rebounder, unless you count Markkanen, who has been decent, but not like the rebounding that he had last year. He was at 8 a game. He's closer to like 6 a game now, right? So they do need a little help in that department. And this guy's going to be a good player. He was just sick and had some bad knee stuff, and this number is going to rise to probably about 20.5 PR as people start to realize like he's playing in the high 20s and that he is good enough to take as of his 3-level scoring ability.
Yeah, and you highlighted that he was just really sick early in the season, and it wasn't like the Jazz weren't interested in playing him. He just was like literally not healthy. Clearly, he peaked on Tuesday. Got into the game, got into the league basically against that shell Pacers team, and now he's going to have a little more confidence. And I think he's going to have to pick it up because this man is going to have a rough time against the aforementioned Daniels Alexander Walker backcourt. So I mean, if you think the Hawks are running away with it, there might be like an alt parlay there with like them to cover at least like 7 and Keontae to stay under this because he's the starter. And if he's just turning it over and struggling to score, it's going to be Isaiah Collier the rest of the way, right? I mean, in a potential blowout, which is where Collier has put up his numbers. I mean, he's only been back 3 games. And in those 3, they're basically identical in drives. They're identical in potential assists. But when they drive, Collier has a 17% assist rate. Keontae George, 3%. You're getting 3% assists on your drives. He's also only shooting 42% on those drives. And those are in favorable matchups. We talked about him as a turnover guy, talked about the Hawks thriving off turnovers. They're specifically to point guards, they're forcing 4.5 per game, which is 3rd highest in the league, also allowing the 2nd fewest assists since losing Trey, and just the number 1 field goal defense overall. So I don't see this guy having a great game here, and I love the fact that he's starting because if it's not going well, then pull the rug out from him, and he's in a complete timeshare with Collier.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I wanted to look at some under stuff for Collier, but I think the way the game flow makes sense. Collier also got up to 27 minutes. Will Hardy's weird about like starting, not starting. I don't quite know. I think we're probably going to continue to see Collier coming off the bench, but like last year, Collier sort of superseded that eventually and took over the role from Keontae, and Keontae came off the bench. And I don't know if that'll be the case again, but I do like even like an under points parlay with under like assists kind of thing too, as for him, and then take the Hawks to cover and do well in this game. So yeah, I'm with all of that. I'm gonna go back to that Pacers game for a minute and just say like this is still too low. Like it's annoying that like Isaiah Jackson is getting 23 minutes. I think he should be in the high 20s. Perhaps there's something to the idea that like he was coming off a horrific injury from last season, and so he's not gonna get high 20s to keep him healthy for a whole season or whatever. That could be reasonable. Like, and I'm not going to, trash that way of thinking. I'll just say like, even in 23 minutes, dude is averaging a rebound chance, more than a rebound chance every other minute, right? He's at like 14 rebound chances in like 23 minutes. And he's not even consistently getting 23 minutes. Now he is. It has been the case a little bit more because it's like, who else are you going to even play for him? Like, even if you don't want to play him, Carlisle, you don't have anyone. But this dude is just a rebounding monster with the rebound chances per minute, the way I'm saying. So, like, in this matchup with the Suns, no Mark Williams, there's really nobody that you're like, oh, this is the dude that you're worried about keeping him out of the paint and getting bored. Like, he's probably the best rebounder on the floor at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I mean, do you think you should go up to 6.5 here? I mean, which is what he hit last game out, right? I mean, he got to the
he could
7
get it in 18 minutes. So yeah, I shouldn't be scared of even him playing 18 to 23 minutes because that's probably what he's going to get, and he's still probably good for at least 6. And if you get decent plus money on the 7+, then like I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I know he's like 8-1 usually for the double double, which I think he's done in like 2 of the
Like
last 3 or
2
4.
totally. He's
Yeah.
more than capable of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so we'll see. You're just kind of predicting the health curve basically with this man. Yeah, because it's
Hopefully.
basically a year since he tore his Achilles.
Right.
Last pick, DeAndre Hunter at 16 and a half points. You can go 17 and a half. You want better odds. I think he might get 20 here. I mean, Darius Garland, like I mentioned, probably going to be out. Lonzo Ball is absolutely not playing. Jared Allen, like I mentioned, has been ineffective if he does go on back to back. So Hunter's going to be the main sidekick next to Donnie Mitchell, regardless. Because I mean, Garland is not like
No,
a full
he's
go.
out. Garland's officially out.
Garland ruled out. Okay, thank you. So yeah, now we get a lot more playmaking here on the wing from him. Evan Mobley still something to be desired as far as initiating offense. He will be finishing off these guys, but Hunter doesn't really pass. He has the second lowest pass percentage on his drives, so that's why it's purely just the points here. But he's the most efficient driver on the team, 65% field goals, and he's only getting the fourth most drives since Garland came back, or since Garland's played 3 of the last 6 for Hunter. So now he gets more opportunities to attack the rim. The Raptors somehow do allow the second most shots at the rim. I mean, I guess it's because they have a lot of oversized wings, right? So they're getting blown by, and then depending on Jakob Poeltl to deny guys at the rim. But Hunter is finishing, like I'm saying. He scored 26 in 34 minutes against Toronto with both Donnie and Garland out. So I think that's why the number is lower, because it's like, well, Donnie's playing. He's not necessarily going to have an insane amount of shot volume here. Is Donovan Mitchell? He's going to need help. And I mean, the Cavs at home are wagging as far as scoring. I mean, he's scoring 17 a game at home since joining the Cavs versus 14 on the road. If you put that up to per 36, it's 23 points per game for Hunter. And he was playing only 25 minutes a game last season. Now he's playing 30 a game in these last 6 and averaging 21, regardless of who's been in or out. Like I said, half those games have been with Garland.
Yeah, for sure. Like he's playing well no matter what. When he was playing without Garland, and I think there were some games Donnie missed too, I was like, I actually attacked the assist because he was high in potentials. But as soon as like Donnie's on the court, and obviously Lonzo yesterday, like he's supposed to be scoring. It's not even like a knock on him that he's not looking to kick out. Like that's what he's supposed to do. And there's few shooters even on the team better than him outside like Sam Merrill, and obviously like Donnie and Darius probably. But yeah, I love DeAndre Hunter this season. I think he's still being undervalued at like when he's getting 15, 16 and a half point props. It's like, dog, this dude's he's getting legit minutes. He's not being held down by coming off the bench and being capped at 26, 27. Like he's getting the time, and he's clearly a focal point in the offense. So
yeah, you said he's a great shooter. He's actually averaging this 21 despite shooting 29% from 3 in the last 6. So he was shooting 42% last year after joining the Cavs.
Yeah, get into the bucket. So there's some positive regression coming from this guy. I think, yeah, we still need to like take this time to get ahead of DeAndre Hunter's props living 2 to 3 points higher than this pretty soon within the season. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel. We will be back on Friday here with the rest of the NBA slate there. Also going to have some NFL looks for you guys as we always do, 6 picks in partnership with DK. So make sure you check that out. Until we see you next, happy betting.